Hello, Howard Hannaland, and welcome to our next session of Motivational Monday. I am Melissa Crockett-Willis from Cleveland, Ohio, and also with me, as usual, is
Christian Klug, upstate New York. I got a fresh 3-4 inches of snow on the ground. You know, spring is here, I guess. I don't know, somewhere. I haven't found
it. Snowing out in New York, huh? So what are you seeing out in your market, Christian?
Well, I was just sharing with Melissa this morning. I was all kind of discombobulated as we were getting ready for the video. I'm like, I'll be right back. I'm on the phone. It is crazy. You know, we are still under a pause in New York, and we're doing a lot of virtual showings, pretty limited what we can do, but we're busy. I've been on the phone with a bunch of agents all morning. Deals are getting negotiated. We had our biggest week last week since the pause. That was district-wide and in our offices. And I'm thinking this week is going to be bigger yet. So we're going to be slowly opening back up. That's what our governor says. But the market, I continue to say this, the market is immune to COVID-19.
Wow, that's fabulous news.
And what about you? What about out your way?
There was a lot of activity this weekend. We had beautiful weather on Saturday. And of course, we had a huge storm yesterday, but that did not stop all of our hardworking agents from all of the virtual tours. It was amazing. I think I visited about 15 open houses yesterday virtually. Loved all of the virtual tours, and there are definitely multiple offers and deals that are happening. So yeah, it's exciting to see. And you know, our governor will be having you know, an update about 2 o'clock in about an hour or so. So we'll know a little bit more about where our state is heading with everything. But we're moving forward. So it's exciting. It's exciting. All right, so let's talk a little bit about.
And just a quick reminder, as Melissa's getting ready, Melissa's doing the seminar today. I will be writing down your questions. So put your questions in the chat box or the Q&A. I will check both, and I will be writing them down. And then at the end, when we get done, after about a half an hour, we'll take about 10-15 minutes, and we'll do some Q&A. So put those questions in there, so I've got lots to ask her when we're done. So with that said, I'm going to put myself on mute. Make sure you've got your printed follow-along worksheet, which I have ready. I'm going to be following along as well. So I'm going to put myself on mute and be writing down your questions.
All right. Thank you, Christian. So Motivational Mondays with Christian and myself. Let's take a little step back and look at what we have discussed the last couple of weeks here. So in week 1, Christian talked about the MPH squared, which was what? The mindset, the plan, and the habit of hard work. Absolutely. I mean, to start all of this, we need to have the mindset. So that's the first thing, and I'm glad we started off that way. And we've been talking about the plan, and we certainly have been talking and experiencing a lot of hard work, which is fabulous. Week 2, we talked about the E plus R equals O. So what is that? The event plus the response equals the outcome. So 2 weeks ago when we were discussing that, we said, okay, the event is this coronavirus that we're dealing with right now, but it could be anything. It could be interest rates. It could be a storm. It could be anything. And what is the R? The response. What are you doing proactively that's going to help you create an amazing outcome throughout all of this? Because what can we control? Our response. We also brought out the green penguin bracelets, which also has the E plus R equals O. So I challenged many of you. I had about 25 of these bracelets and said, if you email me at melissawillis@howardhanna.com, we'll send you one of these bracelets. But you had to tell me what one of the R things that you were working on. What's something that you were doing proactively? So we had quite a few of you respond. Here's Tracy from the Collier office in Pennsylvania, sporting her green bracelet. So remember, if you did receive one, send me a selfie, and we'll keep featuring a lot of you as we work through this together through our Motivational Mondays. And it's not too late because I have about 25 more to send to you. So again, email me at melissawillis@howardhanna.com. Don't forget to give your home address and tell me one thing that you're doing proactively, and we'll get your green penguin bracelet out to you. Then last week, we talked about focus. What was focus? Eat the frog. O is the one thing at a time. C, concentrate on your goals. U, use your time wisely. And S, starve your distractions. I know many of you posted this poster by your desks. So keep up the great work with that and keep the focus. There's nothing more important than that, especially as we go into week 4, which is the dip. That's right. Many of you, may be familiar with Seth Godin, and The Dip is one of his books that I have just loved. And I think it was back in 2007 when a friend of mine, Ron Kubek, who's in the real estate world, which was part of a star-powered network that I was involved with. He's in British Columbia, and he had given me this book. And as we were going through this event, I pulled the book off the shelf, and it was interesting because I saw he had, signed it for me in the front, but just about being the beam of light and doing your best. So I had the opportunity to read this book again the other day, and I'll tell you, it motivates you. It gets exciting. So I wanted to hit a couple of the highlights of the book, because right now, everything in life worth doing is controlled by what? The dip. And look at it. You have the graph of the dip here. And it has your results and it has your effort. And so, like anything else, when you start off, I'll show you this graph talking about what is the dip. When you start off the journey, you're in the real estate world, you're like, this is exciting, this is easy. I watched HGTV, we can show 3 houses, this market is good, everything is happening. And all of a sudden you run into the dip. The dip can be anything. It can be the E, like the event. So it could be the coronavirus. The dip could be, say, when you are studying to go into med school. Guess what the dip is? Organic chemistry. A lot of people don't survive organic chemistry that want to go into med school. And it's hard. It takes a lot of hours. It takes some strategic thinking. It takes that willpower. So a lot of people don't go through it. Look at what these professional athletes go through. Hard work. When you're an Olympian, when you're a professional athlete, there's a lot of struggles in everything that you go through. There were times when they probably thought, I can't make it through this. But you know what? They whittle away with it every single day. And when you can make it through the dip, you look at how this graph works, and you're going to have rewards and results that are phenomenal. Why? Because most people don't make it through the dip, or they fail. A lot of people stop right there. And they might not be completely quitting what they do or quitting their job, but they might not be giving it the effort they normally would, what they can do every single day. They might quit what originally made them successful. They might quit making calls. They might quit the morning workouts, maybe not working as hard. So as we talk about this dip today, we're going to be talking about why it's so important and boy, what we can do to get through it so we can have results that are absolutely phenomenal, that are even greater than what we saw before the dip. So as Christian talked about in the first session, mindset, it all starts in the mindset. So what do we have to be? We have to be the best in the world. That's right. You as an agent have to be absolutely the best agent in the world, because anyone who's going to hire you or recommend you, they're going to wonder if you were the best choice for them, for what they're going through right then, from who they find, from who they are referred to. Are you the best choice, the best in what's right for them, based on what they know, based on what they believe? So in other words, you have to be the best in their world. And you have to figure out what's in their client's world and how do you communicate that you are the best solution for them right now. It's their world. And when I'm choosing what's best for me, it's subjective. I get to choose. I get to define what that means. Is the best somebody I trust? Is the best somebody that was the great value for this? Is it the best person who could communicate with me? Is it the best person who was creative and proactive? Is it the best person who could solve problems? I get to choose what's the best. And that's the exciting thing. Now the consumer gets to choose what's best in their world, and it's up to us to deliver that. Successful people don't just ride out the dip. I hear a lot of people saying, oh, just got to make it through this. I'm just going to hold back. Let's keep our fingers crossed. Let's make it through this coronavirus. I just can't wait until the governor says we can go out and do something. No, successful people don't just ride this out and wait and see what's going to happen. No, they lean into the dip. They embrace the dip. That is so important. David Knox, a speaker that many of us have heard of and who has been at our Howard Hanna conventions, once was talking about car racing, and he tends to race very fast cars. And he was talking about what to do when you start going really fast around some of those turns. He said it's a natural tendency for people to slow down, for people to want to put on the brakes a little bit, for you to adjust your handles and play it safe, when the exact opposite should be true. He said, when you're starting to go around curves, boy, put your foot on the gas. You will have more control over what's happening. You're going to have better results. You're not going to swerve. You're not going to, run into danger that way. So this is about leaning into the dip. And the dips don't last quite so long when you just whittle away at them. And that's one thing, because you're keeping active. You start getting excited about the end of the dip. So if something is worth doing, there is probably a dip. Why is that? Dip creates scarcity. Why is that so important? I mean, you look at supply and demand, okay? When something is scarce, it's worth more. There's more value to it if something is scarce. If there's a scarce painting, whatever the case is, collectibles, they're worth more because they're scarce. And the dip creates a scarcity. So let's just think about, I mentioned that my friend gave me that book back in 2007. Let's take a look back at what the market was like back in 2007. You saw a lot of, actually, let's look prior, back to about 2004, 2005. You saw a lot of competition in the market. You saw a lot of discount brokers that were coming out of the woodwork. You saw a pressure on lower commissions because you had a lot of these discount brokers, and we made life look so easy. You also had a lot of for sale by owners, a lot of for sale by owners. So we were always competing against them. Then what happened in 2007, 8, and 9? Got a little bit more difficult. We went through a little bit of an economic downturn, and we whittled our way through it. And guess what happened as we worked our way out of it? There wasn't as many competitors. A lot of the new business models went away. They couldn't weather the storm. They couldn't weather the dip. For sale by owners, hard to find. Couldn't find those for sale by owners. Why? Because they valued the agent. They valued somebody who could help them get through that time. The scarcity creates value. All of a sudden now, when you prove that you are one of those people who can work through it, you're going to find a different world on the other end. Look at what we've just been through. There have been a lot more people entering the real estate market because the point of entry really is not that difficult. You can take a couple of classes. People want to get their real estate license. All of you agents make it look so easy. People think, oh, I can do that. And you look at some of the discount brokers. We've been talking about that. How do you combat for sale by owners? How do we deal with a downward pressure of commissions? I have a feeling these are going to be some of the things that we're not going to be talking about as we work ourselves through the dip and as we come out of it. Because the dip has that way of creating scarcity, and scarcity creates the value. So look at that and think about that. I mean, in a competitive world, adversity is our ally. I mean, we can grow from it. People recognize us more. They see, boy, the people who can come through this, look at how they soar. I mean, many of you have been watching Netflix documentaries or people of success, and you look through some of the things that they've had to go through. When we are going through this and sharpening our saw, and I mean, there's certainly not a shortage of training that we have. So it's, what are we doing to reach out to people, to sharpen our saw, to make ourselves that much more valuable in the eyes of our consumer? I mean, the harder it gets, the better chance we have of insulating ourselves from the competition. I mean, absolutely. But don't let the adversity cause you to quit doing some of the things that made you successful in the first place. Stop you from making those calls. Oh, it's tough out there. If you stop doing what you were doing, it was all for nothing then. But remember this, when it's competitive, adversity is our ally. Windsurfing. Anybody ever been windsurfing before? It's easy. You know, you can go on out there with the windsurfer, and look at that, nice and easy and calm until one thing happens, until the wind starts kicking up. That's when you tell the really good windsurfer from your average windsurfer, because of how they adjust to the wind, how they adjust their sails, how do they go with the flow. This is what absolutely separates it. When you look at competition and competitive sports, what separates the awesome athletes from your average athletes, the one who can weather the storm, the one who can go through it when, their side hurts, their ankle hurts, their this, who can push through it. So I thought that was a good example. Now here is the really, really good news. I mean, in fact, I think this is like the great news, is that we are here for a reason. And our reason is, as real estate agents, is we are here to solve the hard problems. Think about it. If real estate were extremely easy, they could probably go on a computer and click a button that says buy a house here or sell a house here. Where do we get to prove our value when it's tough? I think we were starting to make things look a little bit too easy for a while, so the dip had to come on in. But look, think about it. When it's hard, we prove our value. We can solve people's problems. Look at specialists in any field. Why do people pay a premium to go to a specialist? Because that specialist, first of all, is rare. Second of all, they can solve people's problems. They can help them with their challenges. As people are wanting to sell their houses right now, they're going to be reaching out to the specialist. They're going to be reaching out to you. They're going to be reaching out to people who have been through this business. And when we have here an agent like all of you who can solve hard problems, a company like us together who can solve hard problems, what a dynamic partnership that is, that can weather any type of dip. So the dip is the reason we're here. This is, ladies and gentlemen, where we get to prove our value. I mean, quite honestly, we may not have an industry if we didn't have challenges. We could be replaceable. We could be replaceable by discount brokers. We could be replaceable by the computer if we didn't have challenges. This is where the critical thinking skills, this is where the problem solving, this is where we have managers and leadership and each other and all of our core services that help us work together to solve the hard problems. Yay for hard problems. I mean, the dip can be our best friend if we look at it like that. So I would always tell people when they would come up to me with a problem on a deal, and I'm like, yes, you have a challenge. And they would look at me like I was crazy. I'm like, no, that is job security. This is where we have a chance to prove our value. It's funny. I find that I always thought this as an agent, and I see it with every agent. The more challenging the deals, the better referrals and the more the better reviews that you get from those people. Why? Because you're always in contact with them, because they appreciate you, because you've solved hard problems, because you help them reach the goal. When things are really easy, what do they think? Whew, I paid them a lot of money for what? I could have done that myself. No, this is so exciting because we get to prove our value and we get to make it through the dip together here. So it's just not enough to survive the dip, because everybody thinks, hope I survive this. No, remember, you get what you deserve when you embrace the dip and when you treat it like the opportunity that it really is. We have an opportunity to make such a statement in this real estate market right now. And I hope all of you wake up every single day realizing that, because it's an incredible opportunity. Because every single day, there are people who are stopping. There are people who are not making the phone calls. There are people who are going, oh, this is a lot tougher than I thought. There are people who are turning in their licenses. There are people who think, I was going to go for sell by owner, but I don't think I'm going to do that anymore. I think I'm going to call a real estate agent. So there are people in our public who are thinking that, and this is a huge opportunity. So remember, extraordinary benefits accrue to the tiny majority who are able to push through just a little bit longer than most. Remember, a lot of people quit right before those rewards are going to start happening. And so we just need to do a little bit more every single day and continue to push through to get those results. I thought this was great. Never quit something with great long-term potential just because you can't deal with the stress of the moment. And I'm not talking necessarily about you quitting the real estate business. I'm talking about you quitting the things that made you successful in the first place. Because it's easy right now maybe to put those on the back burner. But I want you to think, did I quit doing open houses because I can't be there personally when you can look at a way to do it virtually and we're here to help you? Did you quit making some of those phone calls because you didn't know if it was making a difference? Did you quit sending e-cards and reaching out to your public? Did you quit training because you think you didn't, you couldn't learn anything more? So never quit anything just because it's stressful right now at the moment. Don't let this paralyze you into not taking advantage of sharpening your saw and looking at the opportunities that we have with this dip to become even better, than we already are. So sometimes you wonder is, okay, what can happen every single day that can, what can we do every day that's going to help us? Well, Hobie sent out an email that you probably all received yesterday with our Ready, Set, Win contest. Now, I don't know about any of you, but I'm a little bit competitive and I like contests. So if you haven't listened to Hobie's video yet or looked at this the contest sheet, pull this out of your email from yesterday. But the Ready, Set, Win contest is going to run from April 27th, which, yes, is today, through May 3rd. There is the sheet that you can download and you can turn in that has a lot of the different activities on there. So we're going to go a little bit about the honor system. Okay, I promise. Is that the Girl Scout honor? I don't know. Christian, you may be able to help me with that. But this is the honor system for you to fill this out on what you do and turn this into your manager so they can get this into us. And there's going to be a lot of fun awards. So maybe something from the Bop Bop shop or different things. But hey, we're all in this together. So let's share what we're doing every single day that's going to help take us to the next level. Let's hold ourselves accountable to ourselves, to our managers, to each other, because as we grow through this dip, we're growing as a company, as regions, as offices, as individual agents. And it's that conglomerate of our growth that is going to make us exponentially successful. So make sure you download this. By the way, there are separate rewards for teams and for individual agents. So if you're an agent, don't think, oh, maybe a team will win. If you're a team, oh, no, this is for everybody. There's stuff for everybody here. So we're talking to all of you that are listening to this. So then as you're making calls, because some of this on there, on those sheets were about making calls. And just remember that selling is about a transference of emotion right now. And this is one thing that I just wanted to really point out because we're at such an emotional time. So now is the time as we're reaching out to people, reaching out to past clients, just to remember the emotional part of it, because you have to tell people like, we're in this together. I can help you. Sometimes we need to slow down, show a little bit more compassion, a little bit more empathy. It's not just a presentation of the facts. There's going to be a lot more that's going to go into this as we're working with our clients. So just remember that. But if you make the calls now from a relationship building standpoint, if you share your emotion now, if you talk with them, if you have time with people, you're not going to be just that salesperson afterwards. You're going to let people know we're in this together. And the people who are setting that stage by building those relationships, continuing to reinforce that foundation are going to be the people who are going to soar afterwards. They say influencing a market is like climbing a hill. You can make progress one step at a time. And as you get higher, it actually gets a little bit easier. Once you start making those calls, once you make 1 call or 2 calls or 5 calls, it makes that much easier to make the calls, to send out the e-cards. And there's not as much competition as you keep climbing up the hill. Finally, I just want you to remember, you are amazing at what you're doing right now. I mean, just even spending your Monday with us on this Motivational Monday, you had other choices. You had other opportunities to do things. You could have been sitting on your couch, but no, you want to start off your Monday saying, hey, how can I make this a great day? How can I make this a great week? And that was the first step of doing something absolutely amazing. And we're amazing as a company. I am so proud of how everybody has stepped up, how we've offered more training, how I'm sitting at home and I've never felt more connected to everybody, and just being proactive and finding new ways to make it through the dip, finding new ways to soar through this dip, to lean into it, to see everybody working together. It's exciting because we have the power to change everything. We're going to change an industry. We're going to change the lives of so many of our clients. Look at how you've already changed the lives of your clients, the people you sold houses to. How fortunate you sold houses to people that they love where they live because they've had to spend a lot of time there lately. How lucky were they to have you as an agent? And how lucky are those people in the future to have you as the agent? And we're going to create remarkable service as we have been in the past and as we'll continue to do so in the future, to be the absolute best in our clients' world together. So we will be doing this all together, and we're going to lean into this like we have never leaned into it, and we are going to come out of this soaring. So that was my message for today with the dip, because it is such a powerful book. So what I wanted to make sure that you do is, again, find the one thing that you're going to take action for. Send that to Melissa Willis at howardhanna.com. I will send you your green bracelet. What I've asked for the people who do email me, and once they get their bracelet, is to take a selfie of them with the bracelet and send it on to me. I will also, out of the people who email me, I have an extra copy here of the book, The Dip. So I will randomly pick a person from there and send you a copy of The Dip so you can read the entire book yourself. But again, it's always available on the download or anything too, on Amazon or wherever else you look. So let me turn it over to Christian and see if you have any questions.
All right. Well, thank you, Melissa. I love the book, The Dip. I read that a number of years ago, and it reminds me of the phrase that nothing good is easy and nothing that's easy is good, right? I mean, there's always going to be some work in there, and so much of what you said, I'm just writing it down, soaking it up. And if you have any questions, write them in. But I want to give a plug for next week before I do a couple questions and see if any come in. Some of what you were talking about is so going to flow in perfectly to what I'm going to talk about next week. And we didn't plan that. We did not, brainstorm last week. But next week, I'm going to be talking about negotiation. So I've got a class I do called The Negotiator. I've got the old William Shatner look going on there from Priceline Negotiator. And negotiation is one of the main skills and value that we bring. And it's an opportunity. And I think that's really what hit me that you said, Melissa, is that this is an opportunity that we have here in this dip, a chance where we can really show our skills. All the people who weren't good realtors, they're going to struggle in this time. But those of us who see this as an opportunity, and my coach said this to me, he said, Christian, this is an opportunity of a lifetime. And those who take advantage of it are going to come out of it really strong. And I already see that happening in our area. The agents who have leaned into this are going to come out of it strong. And you gave the analogy, and this was one of the things we had on the Q&A was, they said, just like on a motorcycle, you lean into the turn, right? And so I give a quick example of leaning in or hitting the gas when you come in. So I did one of those, I don't know what you call them, like extreme experience things. I'm always into doing crazy things. So me and a couple guys went to New Jersey to a racetrack to race sports cars, whether it was Porsches or McLaren F1s or Lotuses or whatever. So I rode a McLaren. It's a, $250,000, supercar. And I thought they're going to tell me to go slow, right? And we do once around the track, and the guy, he's like, go faster, go faster. And finally, like the last lap, he was pretty confident with my driving ability. We come into the last straightaway, and I was at like 120 miles an hour, and I'm pretty sure he's not going to go any faster. He takes his hand, he puts it on my leg, and makes me go faster. I literally, 15 minutes after I got out of the car, my heart was still going like this, right? But I wanted to let off the gas. I wanted to let off the gas and hit the brake. But he knew I had to keep hammering it home. And I know that right now what Melissa was saying is so many of us, 5 weeks at home, if you got kids, it's tough. They're homeschooling. And a lot of us, we just want to let off the gas right now. We want to put our feet up on the table and just kind of settle into the dip. No. Hammer down, lean into that dip, and you're going to come out of this in the next couple of weeks flying through that corner. Your heart's going to be pumping. You're going to be crazy busy. So good stuff on leaning into the corner. All right. I missed part of the presentation. When will this recording be ready to view again? Usually within a couple days, you'll get an email that will come out from Howard and Hannah with the full recording of this presentation. So all of these Monday motivationals are recorded and sent back out for everyone to watch. So just watch your Howard, Hannah for that. So two people asked about that. Let me go over to the chat here real quick. Are you sending out a copy of today's recording and papers from the slideshow? Yes, slideshow. So once again, when the recording goes out, you will also get a blank of the follow-along worksheet. That happens every time that we do the presentation. It's not going to be instantaneous. It does take a day or two, but always watch your Howard Hannah email. That's why it's always important to read your Howard Hannah email, right? So great stuff. Thank you so much, Melissa. Do you have any other closing thoughts for us, Melissa?
No, I think the thing is every day we go through this, we are one step closer to, to just getting out of this dip and embracing it and just soaring. So everything that you're doing right now is going to pay off. And we look forward to just celebrating a lot of the success with you as we all get through this together. And one thing about Christian and I, we love to hear your stories too. So feel free to email, both of us.
Both of us, yes.
Yes, we love to hear what you're doing, any success stories. Like, please share them. That's one thing that keeps us all connected. And that's one reason why I'd love to share a lot of the pictures of you that are all wearing all these strong. I wear this as that reminder. If I'm not doing something to get response, I just sort of pinch myself with it. So this is that reminder to always be making sure I'm doing those things that are going to help take things to the next level. And we are here for you. Your managers are here for you, the leadership. And if there's anything suggestions that you have on anything that we're not bringing to you, please let us know, because,
Kim and Art and a few others, you commented real quick and you just said that you love Motivational Mondays. And we thank you for watching. Obviously, we couldn't do this without you, but it motivates us when you email us and just tell us that this was impactful. We were discussing before we started, and we always talk about how many people are going to log on. At the end of the day, Melissa and I said, if 5 people are impacted by what we're doing, then we know it's beneficial. But it motivates us to hear success stories. So please email both of us. We love hearing it. I've had to almost give like an hour in my Monday afternoons just to respond to emails every Monday, which I love it. So tune in next week. We're going to be talking about negotiation. Negotiation is something that honestly, in early part of my real estate career, I was horrible at. I was just so happy to get the deal together. I probably didn't do the best job for my client that I should have been. And the first couple cars that I bought, I paid too much for them, right? But I've gotten better at negotiation, and I'm excited to go through the class that I have prepared on negotiation. I think it'll be motivating for you, especially if you struggle in that area, because I know a lot of times we struggle with that, and then we don't get excited to do it. I get excited to negotiate now. So thanks again for tuning in. We'll see you next Monday.
Everyone. See you next Monday.
Thanks, Melissa.